I remember back then I was so hurt by it, to be kicked out, to be like, oh, get away. So for me, the only way to make it out is that, okay, Ticha, stay strong, keep going, try your hardest. One day you're going to accomplish something. One day you're going to be successful, so you don't have to ask anybody. If I have one talent only I have to name is confidence. I really believe in myself. And when I see so much hate, because during the show people be like, oh, she's too confident. I think the thing people talked the most was the Thai word มั่นเกินไป, too confident, too cocky. They think that when they can drag someone down, it makes themselves go higher.
Have you ever felt like you were rejected because you were so bold?
I can't think. Have I?
Kanticha Chumma, model, actress, YouTuber, entrepreneur, and TV host, has taken Thailand by storm. Daring, energetic, provocative, with an iron-clad confidence, Ticha is one of the most recognizable and rising stars in Thailand. As a Swedish Thai personality, she has changed the social norms of what it means to be a celebrity in Thailand. A multi-talented individual, Ticha also uses her platform to educate youths and people in Thailand about sexual education and is single-handedly removing the taboo surrounding the subject around our country. In this podcast, we talk to Ticha about the importance of sexual education, dealing with negativity through confidence, and explore the journey she has taken from her humble beginnings to stardom. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Kanticha Chumma.
I can teach her.
Over 75% of the people watching this video are not subscribed. Could you please take a moment to subscribe to the Thaiger podcast? It would really help us out. Ticha,
Jay?
tell me about your life in Sweden. What is the lifestyle in Sweden? Normally when I think about it, I think IKEA meatballs, snow. But I want to know, like, how is schooling, weather, hangouts? How do you party or socialize? Do you enjoy eating cheese doodles, pickled herrings?
Nope.
No?
I mean, if I have to define it short, broke student, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
So IKEA, yes, correct. I walk there for fun because I love to look at the furnitures and because the food there relatively cheap in McDonald's back then.
So over here, people love having IKEA meatballs, like, yeah, okay, I'll go to IKEA Bang Na and have the meatballs. It's almost like an outing.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, it's just like...
No, it's the same, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do eat that. I also feel like it tastes better there. I don't know.
In Sweden?
In Sweden, the sauce better there.
Of course.
And the meat too.
So when you were growing up in Sweden, what did you aspire to be? What's young Tisha's goal?
Since I was younger, I've always been competitive. I always wanted to be the best, have the highest grade, be somewhat recognized for being smart, outgoing, or something like that. So back then when I lived in Sweden, there's nothing much to do. I didn't have money to go and have crazy social lifestyle or anything. So I was really focused on school. So I wanted to have good grades, and I didn't know what I wanted to be exactly, but just accomplished. Like, it was important to me that one day, Ticha, you have to be successful. Yes.
Where do you think that drive came from?
Oh, I can tell you. So when I was younger, my family split. So I was born in Thailand and raised until I was 7 years old. I went to live with my grandma up in the northeast of Thailand, Sakonnakhon, which is one of the poorest province in Thailand. So there, I think I had a lot of anger towards my biological dad, because our family split and all the things that you've seen as a kid. So there's some trauma there. When you've seen abuse, you have to you don't live with your parents, you're scared, you feel not protected. And by that time, it's one of the things a kid would need to feel protected, fed, and loved. So I feel like I grew up and I don't know, I think I'm still figuring it out, but I feel like I need to be good enough and beyond enough it cannot just be enough. You have to be very good that I would deserve the love, the attention, the care, the protection later on. So for me, I was very competitive, and I think that was a drive comes in. So after that, when I moved to Sweden, I have a stepdad, a Swedish stepdad. And in the beginning was good because when I moved to Sweden, I was like, Ticha, this is your shot of like a new shot in life. You're going to have a new life. It's going to be good. So I was trying so hard to be his daughter. And by that I mean is because sometimes kids will take time like to get used to their new parents, their new stepfather, stepmom. They'll be like maybe a bit difficult or distant and waiting for the adults to approach them and be like, hey, you can trust me. Hey, I'm gonna be nice to you. But no, I was really like towards him. I call him Papa like this. You know, it didn't take me time to be like, oh, I have to get used to him. You have to deserve to be my dad for me to call him Papa. But for me, it was like, I just want a dad. I just want to be loved, protected. So I was like, dive in. Like when we walk, I would hold hands like this, like Papa, we go this there together. So it was really a daughter. I was jumping to a daughter role really quickly. And then I think eventually he developed like a drinking habit. So our relationship didn't go as the way I wanted. And I was really, I was an easy kid myself also. So I have to say that to be fair. So we always like fight, like argue. And when he says something mean, even to my mom, I will always step in, or to my sister. I will always be the middle person. It's not my business first, but it became my business. So that, and I feel like then I fought or have arguments with him to the point that I get kicked out from the house. I didn't go. He was basically, he kicked me out. He's like, you're ungrateful, you're this and you're that. So like, you know, when drunk people, they speak. Yeah. If someone have experience, people with like alcoholic person, they're one person the moment they drink. The next day, yeah, it's a different, like, it's like a
personalities.
Yeah, it's not the same person anymore. So when he drinks, he would say mean things, and I would get kicked out from the house. And I remember back then I was so hurt by it, to be kicked out, to be like, oh, get away, because I wanted to say, yeah, I'm going now, bye. I want to have that pride. I want to have that ability to say, yeah, sure, I'm not going to ask, I'm not going to beg. But then I was, because I was under his roof. I was under his protection. I didn't have anywhere else to go. So for me, the only way to make it out is that, okay, Ticha, stay strong. Keep going, try your hardest. One day you're going to accomplish something. One day you're going to be successful. So you don't have to ask anybody. So you are so you're in control. So you're in the position to be like, you don't have to beg anymore, or you don't have to play dumb. Because at that time I remember he kicked me out, and I said, I'm not going. There's no free Wi-Fi outside. You know, to try to be funny or try to be like whatever. Yeah. But back then I was so hurt. I was like, my God, I wish I could go. I wish I could leave. So that was it. So my drive was like, try your hardest, be the best.
I think that's generally as well. The toughest people often are actually quite soft inside, and I think because of your past experiences, you kind of built that tough exterior, and life was tough in a way. Yeah. So and it's the tough ones that kind of make it out and succeed. So good on you.
Oh, thank you. Let's see, guys. Let's see. Maybe trauma will play itself in 10 years. Who knows?
So most people, if given the chance, especially in Thailand, you know, they love to live abroad and go abroad. I know, like, when I was graduating, all my friends were like, oh, I'm going to go to UK. I'm going to go to Switzerland. I'm going to go anywhere but here in general, right? Yeah. But you chose eventually to come back to Thailand. Is that something that you planned, or it just kind of happened? Because I knew you wanted to succeed. You wanted to make a name for yourself. You wanted to be somebody. Could that have been anywhere, or was Thailand in the plans?
It wasn't about Thailand. I didn't have a plan at all during high school to come back to Thailand and live here or or to work here. It's just that the opportunity presented itself at that time. So I always love the art side, like the entertainment side, I would say. So anything like with modeling, with TVs, like, oh, people are performing. I like performance. I like entertainment so much. So it's always been in me. So when I watched the Face season 1, and I really loved it. And I feel like that was something different for Thai people because they also focus on the show itself and the personalities that like with the contestants. So I felt like it was something for me. And my friend back then, Monica from Phuket, she because I just have to say this because you went to the same school as her. And she watched it. We watched it together. And then she kept hyping me. She's like, Ticha, you can totally do it. And I really believed in myself. So I'm like, yes, I can do it, you know. And then I got a ticket here 3 days before audition, and then it happened.
Nice.
Yeah. So it wasn't because I wanted to come to Thailand and be like, I have to come and work here. You know, it has something to do with being abroad or not. Because actually, if you think about it, I live in Sweden. So Thailand would be abroad for me back then, right? But it's not because of Thailand. It's because like the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the Face, in August 2016, you did an interview where you spoke about dealing with a lot of rejection, and you had applied to quite a few modeling agencies and gigs. You were doing odd jobs here and there, but like
it wasn't that odd.
I know what I mean is that you hadn't found your big break yet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and you've commented that, like, you know, with not getting those big breaks, like obviously the self-esteem goes down, you start to doubt yourself, you feel hurt with the rejection. How did you deal with that rejection, and like what really kept you going? Because I know you mentioned about the drive that, okay, you must succeed and you must that, but like dealing with that rejection, did you ever find yourself thinking that maybe I'm not cut out for this?
No. I think I'm more honest now and more reflective now than I was before. So I think, okay, to get the context. So when I lived in Sweden, they don't have the same entertainment industry compared to in Thailand. For example, if you would do a shampoo commercial, they would have maybe in US one commercial, but when you do in Thailand, you get a substitute. You get a Thai celebrity or like a Thai spokesperson to do it. But in Sweden, I mean, since the language is so similar and the look is similar as well, they would use the same original commercial. They wouldn't have to change to a Swedish person every time. So in a way, it means that the industry there is not as big as here. Also, not to mention like the population there is way like lower than Thailand. So the industry here is way bigger because everything has to be related to Thai people. If a Thai person would watch TV, be like, she's blonde, but I don't have the same hair as her, you know, like, so that's why we need a Thai person to represent those brands and thus create jobs, create the industry. So back in Sweden, I don't know if you can tell, but I don't look white. Yeah, so
I noticed, yeah.
So when I lived there, I wanted to be a model because I watched a bunch of shows. I really liked the spotlight, or like at that time I thought. And so I tried modeling there, and I applied to all agencies I could find. Basically go to Google, search all the lists. I send my email, I send my photos. How do I get those photos? Back then, I would get into a website. I don't remember the name anymore. It's called, and you do something called time for print. So it means that you go take photo with a photographer. They get your photos, you get some photos. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Like, you don't have to pay anything. They don't have to pay anything. Just to like exchange, to have the photos to build your portfolio. So that's what I did. And I would go on trains for hours just to do the time for print photo shoots. And then and when I have enough of those, I send it everywhere. And I think I get accepted to one agency, but I never got jobs from there. But back then I was really happy, really proud, just to even for them to consider it. And in Sweden, I think I got like maybe 2 jobs that paid, you know, for a catalog or a clothing store, online clothing store. So I was really proud back then because I was also like a student and I do this as a hobby. So it was my passion. I could say that would be a passion because I don't earn anything from it. I do it, and every time I do it, I'm happy. And then when the Face came, that's why I'm like, let's try it. So during that gap year, I told myself, Tisha, you would regret it for the rest of your life if you don't give it one shot. Try it, even if you don't succeed or you fail, at least you know to yourself. At least you tried, and you can try other things. You can come back to Sweden, you can keep studying. You have future here anyways. So that's what I did. And the interview I did back then, sorry, I have to tell such a long story. And the interview I did back then, I cannot deny that I work in an industry where it's very like, it destroys your self-esteem. Because a lot of times you're going to get rejected, especially if you haven't made it yet. So if you go to casting among 100 people, one person gets it. I mean, 99 people will be rejected. So, and when you get rejected every time, you would feel like, why wasn't I chosen? I'm not pretty enough? Well, what happened here? Am I not talented enough? Didn't they see that I fit for this role? So it sabotage your self-image to a certain extent if you keep getting rejected and rejected time over time if you don't have a strong like self-esteem to start with. So back then, when I gave the interview, looking back, how I know myself, I never actually thought I wasn't good enough. I always thought I was good enough. But I think when I said I'm not good enough, it's something people can relate easier. I will not be able to say like, hey, I'm just narcissistic. I'm not going to admit it. I mean, I think I'm good enough. It's just other people don't see it. You know, like what kind of, like people will be like, whoa, did you just say that? If I say I'm not good enough, it's relatable.
Yeah.
I've been there too. We all have been there. So back then, I think I was good enough. I just didn't fit for those certain roles. And it's okay. Because there are other people who's also good enough who didn't get it. I'm not gonna lie. I see a bunch of other girls who's like, you're so pretty. Oh my God, it hurts to just see like how pretty you are. But you also didn't get certain roles, certain things. And I wouldn't say that they're not good enough either. So back then, I just felt like that maybe was something that easier to explain. Because I always somehow believed in myself. And I know like sometimes people don't like to hear it because when a girl is confident, it can it's so close to being arrogant.
Yeah.
So when someone say like, hey, I was good enough all along, just you guys don't see it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to be honest here now. Yeah.
There we go. That's the thing. You know, I think people find their own ways to build their own self-confidence, right? So for I know myself, or I was taught by one of my teachers that like, okay, do whatever that works for you. Like, let's say if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling down, or before you start your day, you look in the mirror and say, I got this.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna have a crazy day. I'm gonna crush it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna get better. And without realizing it, you get into a habit of that, and like, yeah, you say positive things to yourself, and you'll
Because you set good intentions
exactly
for yourself. Yeah.
All right, so your major breakthrough was after participating and winning the Face Season 2 Thailand.
Yeah.
Firstly, during the show, did you find any hardships that you experienced while you were participating as a participant?
Not major. I really had fun. I really had the time of my life. I think it's one of those lifetime experiences I got. The hardest thing was I didn't have much money. And I'm not saying like I'm super broke, but back then my mom was working 2 shifts just to support me. So my dad actually got me a ticket, and then my mom was paying me every month. But then you have to, when you come here and you don't have work, you don't have anywhere to go, you have to pay rent, you have to get yourself around, and you want to be in somewhere safe as well, and especially being new. And I never lived in the big city before, so Bangkok was the first big city I lived. Because when I live in Sweden, I live a bit like out of town, So when I came here, I think the hardest thing was when you're alone, you have to do a lot of things alone and try to get through yourself. So let me compare a scenario so it's easier to understand. So other girls, when they join the Face, they have their families here, they have their friends here. Let's say if they want to have clothes, because in the Face they require you to bring clothes, like 5 outfits per those time, because we film Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? So in 3 days you have to have enough outfits. And let's say with them, they live here, so they have the whole wardrobe. I came with a suitcase. Or if they need to borrow, they already have connections to their friends, to whatever. I don't have it. So when I start in the Face, a stylist come and tell me like, Tisha, you have to get better clothes. you don't have like it's you cannot use this for TV show. And I said, where do I get it? You just buy it, they say. And back then I'm like, I don't have money, but I don't say it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, got it. I fixed it. So the next coming week, I went to JJ Mall, Ticha, and I was looking for clothes. But I don't have the best style, like myself. You know, I'm not a person who have crazy good style. So I came with the clothes, and they said it's not good enough. It doesn't look good enough. It looks cheap. And then back then I was like, okay, what do we do? I have certain amount of money I plan to use during one whole month. So I have to eat, I have to travel here, I have to survive. And I was living cheap. I tell you, living cheap. So if I have to buy clothes every week, 5 outfits, I can't afford it. And then I said, okay, you know, like, that's it. I said, okay, got it. And I thought, and I was like sitting and thinking, what should I do? So I woke up one day and I went to Terminal 21, a mall here in Thailand. And there was like one floor where they sell like clothing stores. So I went to every store. I'm like, hi, my name is Ticha. I'm participating in the Face Thailand. I got through the top 30. Would you mind if I borrow your clothes? I'm going to use it this day to this day. Nice. You can take my ID. And after that, I post pictures for you. But now, you have to understand, back then, the show haven't aired yet. Mm-hmm. So no one know how legit I am. I could be a scammer coming in and asking for clothes. And I went to 50 stores, I think. I went to all floor, all day. I came like every time like, hello, with great energy. And only one store contacted me back and say, okay, I can let you borrow. And I just need one yes. So back then I knew a lot of people would not believe me. A lot of people will reject me. A lot of people would say no, but I just need one yes. I don't need to get like, imagine if everyone say yes. 50 stores, I have to start rejecting them back, right? Yeah. So I was like planning that, okay, I will be rejected, but I just need one yes. And that's all it takes. Like, then that one store supported me all the way throughout the show. I get clothes for them every week. And I don't know what they believed in me, but the owner of the store, I went to her wedding. Like after everything. So it was a good relationship. So I'm really grateful.
Wow. That's the story.
Yeah, and I haven't told you the broke part.
Okay.
So that was the part about the clothing, which is not even a big deal because I managed it quite quickly. The part where every day for me was I have to have a discipline. And when you don't have crazy social life, you get a bit crazy as human. We're a social animal, right? So I don't go out. I don't like do too much of that. So I have to stay in because staying in is cheap. Going out expensive. You don't want to go to your friends and be like, oh, I'm going to order 2 beers. I'm going to order this and that. And you don't want to be cheap. Yeah. You know, and you don't want them to pay for you and you don't want them to feel bad for you. So one of the best way to avoid spending money is not to go out. Like back then it was that for me. And I stay a lot alone. I watch a lot of shows and repeat, like watch The Face again, all like the seasons, try to like stay sane, work out, practice walking by myself, whatever I had to do. And then I had to find food. So what I do with food was I can't cook. So when I lived with my mom, I was spoiled. So I didn't cook, I didn't clean, I didn't pay bills. I didn't know how to do any of that. So when you move to another country, you have to grow up. You don't have a choice but to really grow up. You have to pay your bills because the moment you don't pay, the electricity get cut off. You don't have water. You don't have anything. So you have to be like, okay, I can't be a kid anymore. And the food was, I remember very well. I was comparing milk bottle where it was like between 20 baht and 22 baht. I was standing there 10 minutes thinking like, oh, this tastes a bit better, but 2 baht. So it has that impact on me. And to think back, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and even salad, like if you buy a shop salad in a bag, that's more expensive if you buy the whole like lettuce or cabbage. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to cut yourself.
Yeah. So there's something like that I learned to know by you have to plan very well when you have limited resources or let's say finance back then. So yeah.
I think for people who don't know you as much, I think it would be quite a shock for them to realize that you have such humble beginnings, because you know when you think like, oh yeah, Ticha, she's half Swedish, she comes from Sweden, she's probably rich, she was on The Face, like you know people in general unknowingly build this misconception and this idea of celebrities. And I mean, even for me, for example, even now, I did not know you had such humble beginnings. So when you find out, it just puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of your charm, because you have like this iron strong confidence that I would just why would I question it? Why would I ever feel like, oh, Ticha struggled before? I mean, it's a very silly thing when I say it out loud, but it's like, oh yeah, like she's just a normal human being with normal problems,
Yeah.
with who stresses and worries about things in life.
Yeah.
But we build this persona around, people who get fame or successful, that we think that they never struggle. So
Yeah.
it's quite an eye-opening experience for me as well.
But do you know what? Back then,
Yeah.
I wasn't even sad by this. It's just a part of the journey. I embraced it.
Yeah.
So if I have to compare, there were days today that I have more money back then, because back then I don't have much. That there were days when I'm not as grateful. There are days when I'm not as happy. It's those days, because those days I feel like I was working towards some sort of goal.
Yeah.
So when you have a purpose, it gives my life so much meaning.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have much, but I wake up and have this purpose, like, I'm gonna try to be the face. I eat sheep, it's okay, you know, just have to be alive and keep going.
And it's I think you're an extreme example of what a working person can achieve. Whatever you got, you worked for it, and if you have a goal, then why not? Why can't you achieve it?
Oh, thank you.
Look, now you've said before that you felt that you were actually lucky to win the Face, and that you broke many stereotypes of what it meant to be Dara in Thailand. Now I completely understand what you mean by that. There's a certain way you need to look. You spoke of, there's a certain height that people expect. Oh, you're a model, you need to be this height, you need to have this look.
Yeah.
And there's no secret, in Thailand especially, there is a preference, and people consider maybe fair skin more beautiful, or certain height more sexy.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the industry or that stereotype has changed in any way to now? I know things were like that a lot more before, but 2023, are those stereotypes finally breaking, or are we slowly still heading towards that?
We are heading towards it. I wouldn't say we totally broke it and be like completely new. Do you know how you can tell? So, you can tell by the billboards you see around the country. You can still see the typical fair skin stereotype, like face, like a Dara face. That's the standard of beauty, and that certain characters will be in the billboard. Because now I feel like there's two sections. There's entertainers, and there's those Dara who you put up like this. So for example, you could have a crazy popular entertainer person. You like, oh, she's so famous because we know her. Everyone knows her because she's been everywhere. But we wouldn't put her in a billboard somewhere, because that's still not the standard of beauty. So that's how you can see that it's still in a country that we have some certain preference, like many other places as well. But do I think it's getting better? It is. Because I believe that if I would enter the industry 10 years ago, I wouldn't have made it thus far.
Yeah.
Even with the same drive, same capability, same skill. But it's just like also because it's an industry where you can not only like yourself, they have to like you too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't have an audience. Otherwise, you can be famous alone with your one follower, which is your mom.
Yeah.
But so it's about them too. And I feel like now it's starting to break more, since we have internet and other people absorb like media from outside, and there's so much more beyond just, let's say, lakorn, or beyond just TV series.
Yeah.
And people have more choices to pick and choose and build themselves. Because before, you have like sort of one-way communication where you have TV. You just have to turn it on and watch it. You don't get to like, nah, I'm not going to watch this show. I'm going to choose something else. So you have only those channels to go for. So now it's more wide, I would say. But we're not there 100% yet.
Would you consider yourself a model, an actress, or an entrepreneur? I know you're an entrepreneur. Let's just stick to model and actor. We'll talk about the entrepreneurship a bit later. Would you say you consider yourself more a model or an actor?
I would say entertainer.
Okay.
But if between those two, it would be more an actress, actor, yeah.
I tell you why. Because I didn't know you could act until... Firstly, I don't watch a lot of Thai movies or series, but I watched this one YouTube movie. I forgot the channel name, but they do really good like short movies in which
Songkran.
probably, I don't know what it's called, but
English.
It was English. You were like some German guy was selling something.
My friend
and
Danny.
You were a coffee shop owner.
Yes,
Oof,
yes.
that was
Songkran.
good. Songkran?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, thank you.
I
Thank you so
tried to
much.
find it, and I was like typing in tags like Kanticha coffee owner. Like I was like, God, it was a while back. It was 2016 maybe. Quite a while back you did
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? And that's when I watched it, and I was like, oh wow, she's cool. She's actually quite talented. Because I'll tell you why. Because I don't
wow,
I don't
thank
watch Lakon for a certain reason, right? There's the same style. There's like this, and I'm like, okay, look, it works for someone. That's great. It's not for me. But I watched that, and I was like, why don't we have people who can acting? No disrespect to anyone out there. I have my favorite Daras as well, sure. But I was like, this girl is like actually like really talented. She can actually act. Why does she not?
Thank you.
Why does Thailand not reward people with these skills, but reward people based on looks, right? Because you can get very far based on if you have the right look for brands, for Lakon, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the day I realized that you were very good at acting.
Oh wow, thank
That
you
was
so
just
much.
yeah, that's not a question. That was just a bit that I wanted to
Thank
say
you.
to you.
Thank you.
Um,
Wow.
So after being in the show and winning it, your life completely changed, right? So
Yeah.
you were then after the show modeling, you're doing commercials, you're doing runway walks, you're acting in series, you're getting offers to be in movies, events, hosting. Ticha, make an appearance here for us,
Damn, you made me sound. Woo.
That's what it was. That's who you are. But like, how was it living life as a public figure? Because I know your confidence was ready for it, and your personal, you were like, I'm gonna be somebody. But then, how did you prepare for that amount of attention?
Wow, big question. Well, first thing, I was happy. I didn't ask my mom for money anymore. So I was really happy, and I felt like I'm more in control. Like this is what I always wanted. So yeah, I was happy and I was grateful. But for the attention, I guess you never can be prepared until you get it. It's one of like you didn't expect it's gonna be this way. You can only imagine. Back when I lay in my room in Sweden, I'm like, oh, what if this? But once you hear it, it's different. You cannot envision yourself to the point that you get to experience be in the shoes. So it was overwhelming, and I must admit there were times when I felt lost. Right, but I think having a strong foundation really helps you. When you're rooted and you're grounded, it feels like it might come waves, and you might go with it sometimes. But as long as by the end of the day, there are people care for you, love you, who tells you the truth, and you reflect on yourself, it's good to go. So I was really like jumping on the wave, go with it, but then also like be smart about it, I would say.
How did you keep yourself grounded? Because all of a sudden, everybody wants to be your friend. Everyone wants you to wear their clothes. Everyone wants you to attend their events. By this time, like, did you have your family move back to Thailand, or who was your support system in Thailand?
In Thailand, I don't remember myself.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have in Sweden, and I feel like all these times that they were there for me, it mattered. And I know that I understand the industry. Like when you're famous, when you're popular, everyone wants to be with you. And I understand like nothing is gonna be forever. There will be times when maybe even in a year from like back then, I was like, maybe a year from now, no one talks about me. It maybe can happen. Yeah. So I have to live with it, and I have to enjoy the moment, but at the same time, don't let myself get it over my head that this is everything, and I just understand the business. This is how it works. So I feel like I kind of wasn't fooling myself. Like you can do a lot of things as long as you don't lie to yourself. It's good to go. So I was like, okay, if people like you, makes sense because you're popular right now because of the show. And if I were them, maybe I'll do the same. Maybe if I'm clothing store, I see opportunities, I do the same. So for me to get that, and I don't see negative. I don't be like, oh, I just want to get to know me because I'm famous. I don't even see it like that. I'm like, makes sense. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Then I understand it.
Yeah.
I feel like I understood it pretty well, and I understand why people do certain things back then, like at younger age, to the certain point that I'm not bothered by it. Let's say same with the criticism and everything during the show as well, because I got a lot of them. So when I could differentiate it, it was easier to live life, even though it changed with so much things going on.
We're talking about criticism. Obviously, with fame comes haters, negativity, criticism, trolls. But obviously, you never let them get to you. And instead, you know, if someone was like, for example, there was this incident. You can tell me if this is true or not.
Yeah.
But someone said that, like, oh, she's not even that pretty. And then your reply was more towards like, F you, yeah, I am. I'm pretty. It sounds like something
that
you'd...
sounds like me. Okay. If I get kidnapped and I come back, like alien kidnap me, and I say like, oh, I'm not good enough, you know that's not me.
Yeah. So that's something very admirable. But how do you get to that belief system where, you know, even with the negativity, even with the haters, the trolls, you're like, no, F you, I am good enough for me. You know, did someone in your life influence that? Like I don't know, maybe your mom or your sister or your friends. Like, is there someone that you looked at and be like, I want to be like this person? That's what it could be anyone, a celebrity, a person.
I really was like going deep into what was it, but I would try to list some things, right? And you know, in the future, in 5 years, maybe I'll tell you like, you know, by the way, I was wrong about this part, but I'm just gonna tell you what I think for now. So when I grow up, since I was competitive, but me competitive doesn't mean I just lay there and do nothing. I always try really hard. And when I try really hard, somewhat I kind of succeed with my small goals. You know, I could be like, I want the highest grade in this one. If I was bad at running because my stamina was bad, I went to a forest and trained to get the high score. So I'm that kid.
Okay.
I try really hard. When I try really hard, I get rewarded. Mm-hmm. So it's always been my reward throughout the times like growing up. So I'm learned that when you try hard, you will get it. Like it's just a matter of time. Or if you don't get it, you get better than you were yesterday when you didn't try at all. So I had that mentality. And my family's the hypest. Like they hype you crazy. Mm-hmm. My family would be like, oh, you look gorgeous. You're doing well. So having that, your closest one that you love and you value you the same or supporting you, it's good. So my ego was protected. Okay. And when people from, like during the phase when people were talking bad about me, the haters, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I've never seen anyone doing better than me talk about me. Or like talk like behind my back like that. Because I wouldn't do that either. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't lower myself talking bad about someone who does it worse than me. What's the point? Like I've never going back, look behind me and be like, by the way, guys, no. So when I go and when I see so much hate, because during the show, people be like, oh, she's too confident. I think the thing people talked the most was the Thai word, man gun pai, too confident, too cocky. Like, why do you even bother coming to the show? You're not even that tall. Mm-hmm. And I said, excuse me, the requirement was 165. If I reach the requirement, I'm supposed to be here too. You know, or I deserve to be here. So when I go and look at these profiles of people talking about me, I look at them and like, wow, you have the audacity to talk about me? How come? Okay, I don't mean to look bad at them, but like, I would not say that if I were you. Yeah. You know? So a lot of times I just think like people have a lot of, they think that when they can drag someone down, it makes themselves go higher. Yeah. And it's something like, it's a bad mentality or intentions to go for. Yeah. And I think they're the one who maybe needs to look at themselves. Like, are your ego hurt? Are you in a way
compensating for something?
Yeah, for something, yeah. Right?
Especially online. I feel like anybody who has a happy life, yeah, and is fairly successful and has good things going on for them, why on earth would they ever have a reason to talk bad about someone? It's always the salty people who are like, she's doing what I wish I had the guts to do. Yeah. I wish I had that confidence. Because, you know, it's funny you said that, like, people said that you are very confident and stuff. I know the show was called Face, and I know after you won, and I saw your picture, and I was like, yeah, she's cool. Okay, she's the winner. And then when I heard about you and when I saw your interviews, I was like, oh, she's cool. She's different. That's what I like about her. Like,
Thank you.
it's just the way you behave. It's like, it's not normal.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. You should be like.
And I celebrate normal because, you know, I was been called weird in my own way my whole life. And I was like, yeah, weird people are cool. Why would you want to be normal?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And I was always weird as well as kids. Like,
Yeah.
so I always felt special. And one thing about me, like, so maybe it goes hand in hand. I believe so much in myself. It must take so much to bring me down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to say this.
Yeah.
So when they're hating on me on social media, do you know, like, because you have to imagine, I've never get popular as well before, like not this way. I was popular in school level, not in like national TV level. So when I read the comment, I was like, wow, so much. But a lot of tension. But okay, let's read. And the things they say, I start laughing because I'm like, this is ridiculous. People do this.
Yeah.
I would never wake up and comment about another person trying to chase their dream. They'd be like, go home, Ticha. You shouldn't be in the show. If I have time, each and every one of them, I'd be like, why would you want me to go home? What would I do at home? Who pays my bills? Well, what am I going to do if I don't chase my dream? At least I try. At least I do something. If I fail, let me fail under my terms. Let me fail because at least I tried. So I felt like a lot of them, like the arguments or the things they say are flawed. I see it that way. So it doesn't hurt me. And when I went to the show, there's a lot of girls, super pretty, super talented. They're crying. And another guy, I remember one of the producer came and be like, why are you crying? Like, yeah, I got hate on the internet. And the guy was standing there like, look at Ticha. She get more hate than you. She didn't bother. And back then I didn't know like how to get on social media. I didn't know the websites and everything. Yeah. So I was like, really? People talk about me? And that's when I start reading and laugh about it because it's so ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I will tell you a trick though.
Yeah.
So about the confidence, I thought about it, and maybe it is this, but for now I thought, so throughout life, there were times, of course, I was insecure or maybe have anxiety doing presentation in front of a class. So whenever I get anxiety and feel like I'm doing bad and I don't believe in myself, it's going downhill. Mm-hmm. It always go downhill. But when I'm like, okay, let's take it. So whenever I show confidence, I felt like the result was rewarding for me. So by learning, it was like a learning experience throughout life that whenever I'm confident, or at least I act confident at first, because I'm not even sure sometimes, other people also become confident in me. And then the whole experience become better. I always get rewarded from being confident or for taking opportunities. So I feel like when even logically, if I take out scenarios in my life, whenever I'm confident, I always get more of what I want. Mm-hmm. Or at least I get closer to that. So whenever I'm not, I'm always feel like I'm losing. So maybe by experience, it taught me like, you know what, still confidence is your way to go. Because confidence give you this energy. Like confidence come closer sometimes to being arrogant, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a strong energy that you cannot deny. Like whenever someone's confident, the whole room feels it. Whenever someone's cocky or arrogant, someone also feel it. Because it's one of those energy that you cannot deny it. You feel it. But then if you go in the positive direction with the confidence, you get the energy back from people. Mm-hmm. If I talk to you and I'm confident, you will also be somewhat confident in me. As if when I'm not confident in myself, you're also like, even she's questioning herself. Yeah. Oh, who am I to go and trust this? You know, like I'm flying a plane here. I'm not so confident. Sorry. I mean, what confidence would you have in me?
We might land today.
Yeah, we might or we might not land.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is contagious. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about sex.
Yes.
Ticha.
Yes.
So the reason I put this in this area is by now people understand or have an understanding of where you are, and where we are in the podcast is where we're now going to start talking about you being a YouTuber. Yeah. So you are a Thai superstar, an extremely famous person in Thailand. Wow. A model, actress, host, YouTuber. Add titles here.
Extreme. Wow.
All of this before you started teaching and educating people regarding sex, which is one of the most taboo subjects in Thailand and Asia in general. Yeah. Why?
Why?
You have you're at the top of the mountain. You're a creme de la creme. Why would you touch such a taboo subject?
Good question. Good question.
Was it because it's taboo, or because?
Oh, many reasons. I give one. Because it's taboo, yes, to a certain extent. I like to provoke.
Does it excite you?
Excites me. I like... It's a personal thing, which maybe I'm not the proudest about, but I love to provoke. It doesn't have to be crazy, but I could say something and then I would like to hear people go like,
Get a reaction.
yeah, get a reaction, even as a joke.
Yeah.
Even and be like, oh, do you know what I did yesterday? I went skydiving. People are like, what, Ticha? Really? And I'm like, I'm just joking. Just to see that, just for me, it's like it's so much fun. So I love that.
But it's also believable when you say that.
Yeah, because I can do anything.
Yeah, it's like yeah, she can do anything. It's Ticha saying.
Yeah,
it.
Tisha saying.
Yeah.
So by me being also crazy and by me mixing it,
Yeah.
I get to see people's reaction. So in a way, like fundamentally, I think I like some sort of anything that's just not plain. Right? And with sex education, I will tell you how it started. So in real life, I love to talk about sex.
Okay.
I'm very open about sex. I love to talk about it. It's one of those topics I will never get tired to talk about. And it doesn't have to be like you sharing your craziest experience. You can tell me your problems. You can tell me your thoughts on certain things related to sex. And I will be so interested. You get my attention like this. It's one of the things where I'm like, whoop, like all ears. So I like sex just in a regular basis anyways, talking about it. And I went to one show, a Thai show, and I don't know how this subject came in, but we were talking about porn, reflect on each society. Like, let's say the Japanese porn a certain way, the Thai porn a certain way, the more the Western, they preferred this. So it reflects something in the society, what you want in, let's say, in a girl. You want her to be submissive, you want her to act like it's hurt or not okay or whatever. So we were talking about this, and it went viral, and there was not like no backlash, like no... Did I say correctly? Backlash is the word. Yeah. So there's no negative comments about that. It's more like people share like, yeah, that's true. And I could say in a way that was entertaining, but also my message get across. So that back then, and that was many years ago. So I had in mind like, whoa, if I say in the right tone, it can get through. My message was across. And people even continue commenting like, yes, true. Yeah, I noticed this too. And they start to share their own thoughts. And then I'm like, okay, maybe something, but I haven't thought of the whole concept of YouTube. So, and then I always wanted to do YouTube, but I didn't know what I wanted to do back then, because all the celebrities starting YouTube, they do their lifestyle. They want to share like, oh, how much money they spend here. They go to this spa, they go to this hotel.
Thank you for saying that.
It's lifestyle, right?
It's like, watch me go to my show and do my makeup, and this is what I did this whole week, which is fine, which is cool, but I'm like that, and then they give up, and then they don't post for like another 6 months.
Yeah, it could be, because in the beginning it attracts people because we aspire to have that lavish lifestyle. And back then I don't live lavish lifestyle, even though I have some money, because I just don't live like I don't know, like I feel like I want to earn money, but I earn money to symbolize that I made it, not because I like to spend it. It's different thing. Yeah. So like what money makes me feel as a person, but not what I actually want to buy and show those things off. So I don't have that lifestyle to start with, and I feel like it would be so tiring.
But that's because you have the classic experience of making money. You worked hard for it. You struggled for it. You had sleepless nights for it. How do I pay my rent? How do I survive? And the fact that you weren't born into money, you have a different value to money than maybe a lot of the people that you meet in the industry.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's funny, because if you look like, I'm not going to say names, but like, let's say rappers. You see many football players, rappers, maybe they have a hardship growing up, or they didn't have much money, but the moment they feel like they need to brag, they need to wear the biggest chains. Maybe also to compensate something like, I didn't have that when I was a kid, or I didn't have certain things, just so now I can flex, and, which is totally understandable. But for me, maybe it was something else. I feel like because I want to be admired for certain other things. And I think I have some sort of complex as well, I'm not gonna lie, because otherwise I wouldn't try as hard as I do, because I go beyond comfortable. When you go beyond comfortable, you start to ask like, why do I try so hard? So I have other reasons as well. But for me, it's more like I want to be admired. I want to be liked, but I don't need to be liked that you don't have to think of me like Ticha's such a good and kind person, but I want you to a certain extent respect me and feel like she's smart, she's cool. That's what I want. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie. It's so rewarding for me to feel respected and validated because I may be out of my childhood. I feel like when I am not looked down upon, because I don't want to get there. I don't want to be in that position. So I try anything to get out of that disrespectful, she's nothing circle. So maybe I do try hard, but it not certainly related to money for me. So in my case, not. So I didn't do the lifestyle. And I thought, what can I do now? What can be something that because YouTube is hard to make these days.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get subscribers. You have to do long contents. You edit videos, you have to film it. It's not like TikTok is way easier. I've done TikTok. I mean, I've danced TikTok. I do that.
Yeah.
I do that. So YouTube is way harder. And I feel like, what is something I can wake up? And what is something I can wake up every day and do? And what is something I can wake up even on the days I'm not succeeding? You know, because I'm not planning like I'm gonna be successful in the first video I make. So what is something I can live with doing even though it doesn't succeed? And then I thought about all the things I wanted to do, and I told myself, Ticha, in 5 years from now, there's probably someone else doing sex ed in your shoes.
Yeah.
There's gonna be someone, like, because we're starting to be more open about this. And if I don't do it, I'm gonna regret it. Again, same with the face. Just try it. You're gonna regret it if you don't at least try. So, and also, to be fair, sex is loud. It grabs a lot of attention. It would be something good start to do YouTube to get attention. So I'm not gonna lie there. So it was like, I have to think further. And then how do I deliver it in a way I don't get banned? It doesn't affect my image too much, but it will be talked about for sure. So
were you scared about that? Because like I said, you were at the top and you're heading upwards, and now I'm doing this taboo thing. What's going to happen to me? Were you scared at all of failing?
Not so, somehow. Like, who's this girl? She believes so much.
You're really just an adrenaline junkie, aren't you?
If I have one talent only I have to name is confidence.
Okay.
I really believe in myself. Even though you take everything from me today, I will believe I can build myself up. Maybe super hard, maybe it takes forever, but I believe so. I really do. So back then I felt like I believe I can deliver it in a way that people can accept it. So of course, you know, when I say I believe it, I'm not like, I'm just going to say whatever. No, I think about it. So I go and think and I try hard. I'm like, what do we start with? If I want to talk about abortion, I'm not going to say in the first episode, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about something like fun. Let's talk about period. Let's start with that. And now the next step, let's talk about relationships and sex. Is love and sex the same? Blah, blah, blah. You know, like start with those questions and then we build it up. So to the point that the audience starting to understand. And when you give them, when I talk about sex and when I sound confident and I sound like I'm not ashamed of what I say, it makes other people also feel that it's not something you're supposed to be ashamed of. Mm-hmm. For example, if I say like, have sex, like, and you're shy and you're like, oh wow, that sounds secretive. That sounds. Yeah. But I'm like, I had sex and not every time it's great, but is it like this? And they're like, okay, you just talk about a topic here. Mm-hmm. So how do I, you know, they tell you when you talk, when you communicate, the context is one thing. It takes like, I think maybe even 5% or not even to 10%. Mood and tone and body language does a lot. I can say like, you're smart, or you're smart. I really think you're smart. Yeah. Same thing. You feel different. Mm-hmm.
I feel like you mean it. Yeah,
it's like one thing you mean and be like, one thing you don't. So it has a lot to do with tone, mood and tone.
Thank you for the compliment. I'll take whatever I can, even if you didn't mean it. Nah.
Well, you are smart. That's why you do what you do.
So did you ever feel like you would be misunderstood or that there would be a lot of controversy? I mean, you must have at least thought about it. And did you ever think that someone would come and shut you down? So I think you kind of half answered that like, you started off lightly and started off in a way where, okay, you know, let's not go hard on wrong word to choose, but let's not go hard right from the start.
Yeah.
But were you afraid that someone would come shut it down?
Like shut my channel down, or like
shut your channel down, or like, you know, you might be canceled or something like that? I mean.
Oh, I get canceled before that.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Oh, I don't want to tell you about it.
Okay, don't tell me about it.
Because I'm going to cry.
Okay.
But I do want to say something about cancel culture in 1 minute.
Was this before the YouTube?
This was before the YouTube.
Okay.
So I feel like I even grow stronger to a certain extent that I could accept the worst thing that can happen in the entertainment biz already. So with the sex ed, I feel like I kind of have in mind what I want to present, and it shouldn't be too bad. So it was planned out. It wasn't like I'm just gonna do it, say whatever, and didn't think through. I thought a lot about things. You know, it's because I'm spontaneous and I go with the flow many times. But there's times when I do use my brain and be like, let's think this through. Let's ask some friends. Let's like talk it out. Let's like structure this. Let's organize this. Let's field it first. Yeah. So with that, I plan it out to what extent I can say. And there's certain, like, I've been to TV shows and stuff where I have touched upon certain topics where I feel like, oh, people have been accepting this and that. So I take those data, takes those scenarios and be like, okay, I can build this into something. So it's not like new in the sense I've never talked about sex. I have talked about sex in other shows, but just about a bit here and there. So they kind of know me that I can talk about this already. And I wasn't afraid someone gonna come shut me down. Because I don't know, I just don't believe someone would want to at that time.
Okay.
And also one thing, what I learned is that, because I was canceled before, right? What I learned was that when you do something and somebody doesn't agree with you, don't like you, or whatever, they don't follow you anymore. They say, hey, we're not gonna follow you, we're not gonna supporting you. But in a way, I also don't need to have them as a fan. So they filter me out and I filter them out, or life filter us out. There's some people, maybe you walk like through the way together for a few years and you go separate ways because life filter people out for you. Yeah. So those who are not meant for you will not be there, even though they try so hard. Same, people who does not want to be there, even try so hard to keep them, they will not be there. And even some people you want to stay, but you can't. So life will do its thing for you. So I feel like, in a way, people who won't understand me or doesn't like about sex, they will not watch me, and that will be okay for me because, life does its thing.
So you said earlier that, you know, yes, you love talking about sex, but what was the moment in your life where you felt that you could be open about it, like publicly? You know, talk sex publicly, because that's where the whole taboo comes from. It's like I naturally don't think that sex is an issue. It's just, you know, we don't talk about it publicly. Yeah. Or at least as a public figure. Yeah. You are probably the only person ever in Thailand's history to come and talk about sex so much. Yeah. You are. Yeah. You're a trendsetter. So at what moment were you like, okay, like I was it I want to start a YouTube channel and this is what I'm going to talk about because this is what excites me. This is taboo. And that's why I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to go public.
That's a thing, because I'm trying to think, like, it was not a moment where I'm like, hey, I have to be public now. I feel like it comes naturally. It might start with something so subtle, like I posted a picture kissing my boyfriend back then, my ex, on Instagram. The public went crazy. There was news about me kissing, and I'm like, oh, wow, whoa, it's a big thing. Mm-hmm. But it is, because Dara, a celebrity in Thailand, they don't kiss.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, so I start with that. And you know what? A year after, celebrities are kissing now. Yeah. It's okay now. Mm-hmm. But I was one of the first, and like, some people were saying, like, why would you do that? You're from Thailand, even though you grew up abroad. Or like, why would you do that? You're
don't forget your roots.
Don't forget your roots. Or like, you're showing other kids that you can kiss, and this is not okay. This is not our culture. Mm-hmm. So, but then maybe it starts with that. So me, by being public, show affection, like kissing, that's somewhere like, you know, could lead to sex. And then when I go to shows, I talk about it. Or I remember I have an account in Ask FM. Mm-hmm. It was popular back then. People would ask me questions and it could be anonymous. And I could answer. So in a way, like, sex was like a little bit dropped here and there. For example, they'd be like, are you a virgin? I'll be like, no. And that's already about sex. Mm. No, I'm not. Are you? Like, like, oh, well, it's okay, and I don't have to pretend to be. It's obviously I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. So something like that. Okay. So it's not a day. It's not like I wake up today and be like, I'm gonna talk about sex the first time ever. I'm gonna go open. I'm gonna go public. It's just I've been dropping it all along until today. I'm like, let's do YouTube about it.
Have you ever felt like you were rejected because you were so bold?
I can't think. Have I? I think the thing is about rejection for me is that they don't come and tell me.
Okay.
Okay, like maybe that. So let's say if I would go to a casting, I would know for a fact that I'm rejected because I went for that casting if I didn't get the job. But for me now these days, because after the Face, I don't have to go casting. People personally to reach out to me. So we'll only get the people interested. I don't get to know that, hey, I've been choosing, you were one of the 5 people we wanted and then we didn't choose you. Because I'm not reported all the times. So in a way, I'm thankful that I'm not reported every time I get rejection. So by me being bold, for sure. There's some people who be like, oh, we want Ticha in this campaign. She's too loud. She's too this. We're not going to take her. But they didn't come and tell me.
Okay.
So in a way, I don't get to know about it. Yeah, maybe that's that.
All right. So let's talk about you taking on the role for the entire country to properly inform and educate the public about sex education.
Yeah.
Now, I can Ticha. That is.
I can teach her.
That's the one.
I make you uncomfortable, right?
No.
But who cares?
So you were
That's
talking.
how I do in my show, guys.
You were talking about reactions. The best reactions for me is like, even you've invited your guests to the show, they've probably seen it before, and they watch you do that, and they're just like, like the look of horror. Like, did you just do that?
I've been doing it for years. So I've
Yeah.
done it in front of many people, you know,
Yeah.
every time, and I'm like, just go for it.
I've watched probably 10 plus episodes of you doing that again and again and again and again.
And sometimes
But
longer,
you can never get used to it.
right? Because
Yeah.
it changes every time. Depends on the mood. Sometimes it's longer. Sometimes you have to like that. And who knows? Things change sometimes.
Very lovely. But it's provocative.
Yes.
Right? And I personally love it. Why did you choose to do it? Is it just to get people like, now you know what kind of show you're on? Because you do it at the start. So it's like,
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Yeah.
This is the benchmark.
That one I didn't plan. That one just came out naturally.
Okay.
I have a lot of sex energy, as you can tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm honest. Like
You
I
do
feel
you,
like,
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the truth. Maybe some of you don't like the truth, but it is my truth. I didn't plan to be like, oh, I'm gonna provoke this one today, but I can teach you. I was like, how do I open the show?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with it.
Now, this next question is based around what you just said. Like, okay, this is me. This is how I am. I think there's a misconception in Thailand regarding the topic of sex.
Yeah.
So Thai people, like all people, love sex. Why wouldn't you, right? But in our culture, yeah, we are told to keep it private, but we're just as kinky as anyone else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, I always said to like my friends, like, I feel like Thai people are lovers. Like, they love making love or having sex, call it whatever you want. We just hide it better than others, maybe,
Yeah.
in Asian culture. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Maybe I say something that would get me bad now, but in many suppressed country,
Yeah.
they're the kinkiest people.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
And I'm
It's
not
the
just
quiet
saying one,
ones,
right?
yeah.
I'm saying many, because when you can go wild with your fantasy if you don't get to expose it. For example, I'm just gonna give a more easier example. Countries where or places, okay, a place where you can wear bikinis going out. Let's say it's more normal. When you see bikinis, you don't get as anymore because you're used to it. You get used to things. But in places where bikinis are deemed like that's too provocative, every time you see it, you're gonna be like, whoa. Same thing, you know. So if that's the case, with let's say we're just dressing up, let's talk about even something more like sex. So it's the same thing where something's more normal, you're like, oh, okay, happens.
Yeah.
So Thailand's one of them, which is kind of crazy because if you where we are now, we're like across Cowboy Street here.
Yeah. We're about 400 meters away from Soy Cowboy.
Yeah, and the whole world knows us for something.
Yeah. Yeah, which is apparently illegal. Why do you think people are so afraid to talk about sex? And is it because of public perception? Is it more so because I don't want that person to know I like it? Or I don't want that person to think about me in that way, whatever that way means?
Fundamentally, you're judged. You're going to be judged when you talk about sex.
And people don't want to be judged.
You don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged either. If I could choose, you know, if anything, like I don't mind it now as much. But if I could choose, please don't hate me.
Yeah.
Like, don't judge me. Please look at me very good. I don't want to be looked bad in your eyes either if I could choose. So I feel like when you grow up and your parents don't talk to you about it, they tell you very quickly that it's something. And I tell you, when they tell you, I don't mean they speak to you like, hey, let's not talk about sex now on when you grow up. No, when they talk to you, communicate to you, it's so many ways to communicate. Even something small, like let's say there's a sex scene coming up during a movie and they'd be like, close your eyes. Don't talk or get awkward. That's already communicating. You know, like just because they don't say it out loud, this is uncomfortable, this is not okay. Something small like this, kids catch it. We know it. When parents say something or when we look down at other people, or a mom could, let's say a mom and a kid never talked about sex, but just because you comment about other people and be like, oh, this girl's acting so slutty, or like, oh, you're doing sex, this is so ugly and disgusting. That's communicating to your kid already. That's telling your opinion out loud that other people can perceive like, okay, so now my mom thinks this is unacceptable, this is embarrassing. Now I learn that I will not be like that, because then I will not be acceptable towards her. I will not be okay. She will not be okay with me being like this. They're communicating all the time without realizing. And I think our society are not so reflective about themselves. So they be like, we never talk about it, but like, no, you talk about it in so many ways. You just don't know. You've been talked about it.
Never told her anything, but yeah.
Yeah, the ways you comment about other people in front of her are already communicating you out, like unconsciously maybe. So so people know that if you're behaving or acting or talking about certain things, you will be judged, because I've seen other people in that situation being judged before. If a girl get pregnant during school, the whole school banned her. She cannot come back. She will be so shamed, like so ashamed. So I don't want to be that girl. I don't have to go and talk to her. I don't have to go and talk to anyone about it. It's clear. Everyone, the way they talk about this person. So we learn that. We're human. We learn just by that. So the reason we don't talk about sex is because something like this. Because we hear other people comments about something. That is not okay. So we don't want to be associated with that. You just want to say, hey, it's not good to steal. Oh, what a shit friend. You don't want to be a shit friend. Then you learn. So this is what it is. And in Thailand, or anywhere, but especially in Thailand for some reason, we talked a lot because I don't know why, but we like I think I read it or heard it somewhere that, do you know why people gossip? Because gossip is a way to take a bad apple out from our society. That's how it's like a survival thing. So when you live in a tribe, you want to have good people among you. So by talking, that's what humans do. We have to be able to point out a bad apple. So that it always kept into us, but now it's getting to another extent. We always want to be able to pinpoint each other. So yeah.
Is it important to own up to your sexuality and be open with yourself, your partner, or others about what you like and who you are as a sexual person?
No. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It's weird that I say this, right? I think that who am I to tell people that you need to stand up for your sexuality if they have other circumstances that I won't understand? I'm not in your shoes to experience what you're going to experience once you come out. So I don't get to tell you that. If you're in my shoes, exactly my shoes, I'd be like, you know what, you can come out. Like, what's bad with it? You know, you have your mom that loves you. She's open towards it. My mom came to my show. My siblings are okay with it. My boyfriend's okay with it. Boyfriends, I said, like the exes before too. But I'm not going to tell the people like, hey, come out, tell your mom, talk to your mom today. I'm not in a place to say, and not everyone will be accepted, and not everyone, like they have their circumstances to live with. And I think it's your responsibility to choose what's best for you. Because I don't always know what's best for you. And I think I learned this the hard way the moment I get banned. So I will not go deep why I get banned, but I can tell you a little bit. So I'm always been like outspoken about many things, right? And people expect that out of me. But there were times when I get banned where I felt like when other people force me to say something, whatever reason I might have or circumstances I might have, it's my call. And I felt like when someone gonna do that, like either way they force me or disagree or agree or whatever they want, it should be the last thing should be my call. You could say what you think about what you want to do, and you can tell me what you think should be good, but the moment you force me and the moment you put pressure on me, even though you didn't use the word force, it's like communicating anyway, right? Just by the mood and tone. I feel like, but you're not in my shoes. And maybe they're going to give reasons like, I've been in worse than you. I've had more to live with, whatever, my circumstances are way worse than you. But I'm like, but it's my call because it's my life. It's my path. So I feel like with that, when I get banned, I was really angry. I was really angry because I feel like I was angry, I think, because people didn't let me do what I want for myself. And they couldn't stand it that I stood up for myself, whatever reason may be, whatever reason we might agree or disagree. So when I get banned, I realized that being cancel culture is pretty because they neglect the very thing that human are, which is you doing mistakes.
Yeah.
Because when you cancel someone, you see them as black or white. We're not black or white. We're not all good or all bad. Just because one thing you disagree with doesn't mean this person totally bad.
Yeah.
Like you totally neglect the part that human can make mistakes.
An entire life or career is judged over one moment.
Yeah.
Which people, even if they accept it's a mistake, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
You must be punished for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So I feel like that for me, that's why I feel like that's not good. Because when people cancel other person, I want to ask, like, you've never done a mistake in your life. Like, imagine if you would do something wrong one time, no one forgave you. What are the chances for you to learn? Like, if anyone have done something wrong and they get canceled, they will never get to learn. They will never get to live up and be better. And many times the cancel thing doesn't have to be that they're wrong. They just don't see the same way. And just because you don't see the same way, you don't act the same way, are you sure they're wrong? Are you sure you're right? It's a lot of things where I feel like, yeah, for me, that was the hardest time in the street, if I could count everything. But not because it was like just a hateful comment like, oh, you're not beautiful, you're short. It's beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sex in Thailand. Recently in Thailand, there was a new program by the NHSO that is targeting teen pregnancy and the spread of sexuality transmitted diseases in a bid to encourage safe sex, especially among Thai youths.
Yeah.
Now, the National Health Security Office is providing free birth controls and condoms to young people. Actually, I read a news report in the morning today where they've got condoms in vending machines in Pattaya now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I was like, I don't know if the teens are going to use in Pattaya or other
Yeah.
people. Pattaya of all places, because they're like, if it's successful there, then they'll use it in other parts of the country. I was like, oh, it'll be successful there. Don't worry. Thailand does admittedly have a problem with teen pregnancy and spread of STDs.
Yeah.
And is the government doing enough to fix this issue, you think?
Enough. Not enough, but better than before. Way better. I grew up in Sweden, so there's a huge comparison. In Sweden, we have condoms at school. People are using it. It's like you're taught since we're younger that it should be a safe way, that you should use it, and they teach you in a way that's practical. So there were times when I moved back to Thailand where we could be neighbors in Phuket. So those times I did learn in Thai, we call Sukha Suksa, which is part of like what is Sukha Suksa even? Like health class. And they put a bit of sex education in there. Okay. Super tiny bit. Do you know what they taught? They were basically showing you a picture. Let's say this tiger is a penis. They would be pointing out what things are called and what it's used for.
Okay.
But in real life, you don't need to know that much.
Yeah.
So they would do tests on that. And I remember back then I had the highest score and the one girl was commenting like, yeah, this is all you think about. That's why you have a high score. And I'm like, I'm just good at it, please. Okay. So I was that kid to fight back. Yeah. But anyways, you even looked upon bad if you score well just by pointing what part of the penis is called and what it's used for. So say like, oh, this is sperm. It goes like this. So they tell you about productive system and sexual health. But it's nothing you can actually remember and can use it. They don't tell you like, where do you find condoms? How should you use it? How to open it? How to put it on? How do you check it's not leaked? You know, something like that. That's practical. Or where do you get pills? This and that. So just teach you how kids are made, basically. And I feel like I barely remember. The names are super hard. They make the names extra hard or something for me not to remember. Like I did well that back then, but after the exam's done, today I only know what the whole thing is called, not the detailed.
Yeah.
Which is onkashad. Yeah. So I feel like it starts there, and then we don't have the good relationship with condoms. And now they try to implement it more, but I feel like they could try hard, and they will now that they see that, let's say someone like me is speaking about it and people have been more accepting, because it's the biggest argument. I tell you, there were times when I think they wanted to have a machine like a vending machine with condoms in school. And parents would be like, why would you do this? Are you suggesting teens have sex? So it's not just about the public sector. The fundamental of our society, the people, the parents are also maybe rejecting it. You know, so it's also hard in many ways. So I feel like it's not just one way. Even in your household, like back there when I was in Sweden, we give condoms home, and parents find out, be like, oh, they give this at school, mom or dad. They'd be like, okay, yeah. That's what they did to me as well when I was younger. But in Thailand, if you get a condom home, they're like, what are you going to do with this condom? Are you going to have sex? Oh my God. Like, you're disowned.
Yeah, how dare you?
How dare you, right? So parents these days are more accepting. I would say more open. And so that's why they can implement it more. So it goes hand in hand. And I went to a seminar the other day, and one of the doctors said, did the government try something? They did. The only thing is that they're very bad at communicating it. And that's one of the key. So just because you have the resource ready, you have the condoms ready, you have the machine ready, you don't know how to match the public, the people, to the things that you have. It's going to be hard. So now that's why I get to have more roles into working with them. They believe that now collaboration would work. We take someone who knows how to speak to them as a middleman, as a middle person. So because we don't know how to communicate to them, like just because we want to tell them, like I think it goes like this. In a public sector, they'd be like, this is what we want. We want to tell you this. Now we're just going to give it to you. But the people be like, do we want it though? Do we want to hear about it? The way you hear, like the way you talk about it is boring, or it's nothing I want. But there's someone like me who's like, I know what people want to hear, because in my sex ed, it's not solely about teaching all the time, because then I know people wouldn't watch it. I mix entertainment, I mix experience. I talk about sex positive mixed with like education, you know. That's how I can get it to grow. I know for a fact that if I'm just concentrating on facts and like education, it wouldn't grow the way it did, and then my message wouldn't come across. So it's very important to be able to speak like in a way that people get it, like, oh, okay, I see. And then there's example, it's like I can resonate it, I can relate now. So that's why they're doing more collaborating. And I'm gonna brag now, but I get to work the other day with United Nations Population Fund.
Look at you.
So I'm very proud.
Yeah.
I'm very proud because I feel like I didn't envision it this far. So in a way, they learned that, hey, maybe we get a middle person to talk about it. So now other sectors as well are doing it more. So it's going in a better direction, I would say, but enough, not yet.
I never knew you reached to that point. I was actually gonna comment that you should become like the official spokesperson, but hey, look at you! Congratulations!
Thank you. It's in one seminar. So
hey, that it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll catch up when it's like 10, and then you'll be like, oh, I've done 100 of these already.
I'll come here again.
Yeah, but look, communication is definitely a problem because I was the campaign that's going on in Pattaya about the vending machine condom. This is translated, but it's out there in the public. The government has an official campaign name called Love Bang Love Safety.
Huh? What?
Love Bang Love Safety. So basically,
what does bang
if you love banging, if you love sex, you should also love safety. Translated, I guess they didn't think about how it sounds
No,
like.
what it sounds.
So, love banging?
It's something that my show can say, but for the government to say, it's funny. Okay, I would tell you something about condoms. What I thought about. So, I'm gonna compare because I have to compare now that you can see the picture clearly. So when people have sex, it's emotional. You have sex because you feel like it.
Yeah.
You don't go and plan things out like some people do, but usually you don't. You just feel like having sex. It's something in us, right? But whenever you use condom, it's logical. You don't use condom because it's emotional. You don't wake up today and be like, hey, today I'm going to wear this condom. It's going to feel so great. I love the feelings. You don't use condom. It's not an emotional thing. Every time you use condom, you're being logical. You're being like, you're thinking that, hey, this is to protect myself and my partner for either STD, STI, or pregnancies. And it makes me feel safe. When I use it, I feel safe. My partner feels safe. This is how I show respect. It symbolizes something because when you grow up with it and it's rooted in you that condom is good in Sweden, people think like that. When you see someone don't use condom, you're almost like, but then it means you also say this to someone else, right? Like if you don't want to use it with me, then you probably don't use it with someone else. And how do I know? And everyone always think they're the luckiest person. Just because you don't have it yet, or maybe you have it, you can't see it, you don't think you have it. Same with not putting seatbelts on. Just because you haven't died yet, like you're lucky so far. Yeah. Yes, it's true. So you always think that you're the lucky person, but don't, because one day you're not. Maybe it takes one time for it to solve and everything. So so I feel like when in Thailand, we don't grow up making condoms feel like something that you have to have, and you don't talk enough about it, and you come one day where people are old enough to have sex, but they don't have the good sense of condom, or like how do I say, like they don't have the good mindset or intentions with condoms. They don't have the good understanding. Whenever they use condom, it's gonna feel like a barrier. The most classic case, a guy will tell you with condom when you're dating a girl, they'll be like, you don't trust me? I thought we loved each other. Like you should trust me. You should be able to trust me. So now condom's like, what the I'm the barrier here? Am I the problem between you two? Between your love? No, right? So it's like, and then when a girl have a condom with her, it's like,
why do you have that with you?
Why do you have it with you? Did you expect sex? That's so slutty.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's just because the way we feel about condom, making such a big fuss for you to deciding to use it or not. It's not just about knowing, it's to protect you. I think a lot of people watching my channel, a lot of people in Thailand knows what condom is and know what it's used for. But just knowing that's protect you against STI and pregnancies doesn't mean you're going to use it just because the feeling you have towards it. If you're
even ashamed going to 7-Eleven and buying it.
Yeah.
Like, what if someone watches me buying it?
Right. So even before getting it even. So it's hard. And I feel like that's why when you do sex ed, it's not just about like, hey, this condom is used for STI and pregnancies. Go use it. And people be like, yes, I'm going to. No, it's not that simple. That's why we have to talk about it. That's why we're saying like, hey, whenever someone uses condom, great, wow, nice, okay. Until if you want to go without it, then let's go test ourselves and have sex. And that's another extent as well. Like you go and test yourself.
Yeah.
Whoever tests themselves probably have HIV by now. Like, in Thailand, if you go to one of those like Red Cross or whatever, you must have something. So like, this is just a small part. So I'm saying like, it's just the way we feel about it can shape our life or our decisions so much regarding sex.
Well, good on you for taking that on yourself, and like now the show stands and means a lot more than what probably you even imagined it, right? And here you are going to UN speeches and all.
Thank you. Maybe I make it bigger than it is. It's like a small seminar, guys, but I was proud.
We're all proud of you. All right. This last part, before I let you go, is about the quiet side of Ticha. Now, I actually put this as a quiet part because, knowing you as a public figure, I also had certain expectations. I've now learned a lot about you, and I kind of understand the depth to the persona that is Kanticha, right?
Yeah.
So, and I noticed while we were talking, you mentioned your mom a couple of times, and I know you're quite close to your mom. Uh, becoming a public figure, talking about sex education, this and that. I mean, I think I even saw you made like a TikTok video, and your mom's like a very cool modern mom.
Yes.
And like I think you guys, along with your sister, you guys were twerking together, and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who gets to twerk with their mom? I mean, that's next level. Not just mother and daughter relationship, but like she's one of your best friends.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is. Oh, and I'll talk about her a lot. That's true. I look up to her a lot. She's one of the happiest, kindest person I know, and I aspire to be that too because I'm not there yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you are known as someone extremely bold, and like I told you, you have this contagious, energetic persona, which makes sense now because everything you said makes sense. That if you're confident and energetic, then you most likely influence other people to feel the same way. But what do you do to like switch off from work?
Switch off from work?
Yeah, like where do you go to get away? Like once you're the modeling, the acting, the everything, like when Ticha just wants to take a break, what do you do? Where do you go?
Outside the camera. If I walk out, I'm already out.
Okay.
I think in the industry, people who works with me would say I have a pretty strong switch. A strong switch means that like 3, 2, 1, perform. 3, 2, 1, out, and it's out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I think it's something very healthy for me because if I carry my work with me all the time, I would be insane. I would go crazy. Because I started industry very energetic, and then the moment when I'm quiet, people are like, "Are you sick? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I'm just a human being." Yeah. So I think people expect that, and I know what to deliver. Like, so I know that's my job. So whenever 3, 2, 1, I go and perform, I'm loud and funny, whatever I need it to be, and then maybe that day. Who knows? Maybe I have the worst day of my life. Maybe I just broke up with someone, just don't feel like it. Then after that, I go and have my moment. And people know that during set, I could be quiet. So I could be like reading something, listen to a podcast, just playing my phone or just sitting or whatever. I don't have to be loud all the time. But as long as they believe and they know that when we're working, I'm trying hard. So I'm not taking anyone down. Just because like, I'll have a bad day. I'm going to bring all of you down today. Yeah. Carry me, please. Like, no. But yeah, so I have those moments, and the switch off just happen naturally when you work a lot, and you know that, like, I try to be reflective, and I tell you, if I come here again in the future, let's say 5 years from now, I probably have a lot to say how much I changed. Maybe the things I think today are not the same, right? So I'm quite reflective, I would say, about myself. So if you ask me about me, I think I can give one of the best answers about me. Because I think a bunch of people walking around, they don't even know themselves.
Okay.
They don't know why they're angry. They don't know why they're jealous. I can tell a lot of times why I'm acting the way I do. It would be the truth, but maybe it's not the best reason, Like, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? I'm selfish many times. I put myself first. I do this and do that. I'm angry because of this or that. So I like to be able to explain why I do certain things. And with being switch off, it's just that I have to keep myself sane. So I have to do that.
Okay. So if there's one thing you want people to know about Kanticha Chumma, what would it be?
If I want people to know, this is a big question. I want people to know
you as a person. Let's narrow it down.
Yeah. Now when this question comes, it reflects like, what do I value, right? I wouldn't say something I don't value. For example, like I want people to think I'm pretty, but then it's not even the biggest thing. And then I thought, do I want people to think I'm a good person? And the answer is still no. Like, it's not the biggest thing, but I do maybe want people to know that I try, because I admire that so much in people. Like, I've seen successful people. I've seen people who're trying still, and I could admire them just as the same, So maybe today could be that I tried, but it's so broad, right? Try what? Like, try for yourself? Yeah, I could try for myself then. Yeah, I really tried, and I admire people who tried, and I'm a human who also have a heart beating and feelings, and try to make it the best for me, for my life. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So generally, actually, before I ask you the final question, you have a product coming out. So you're an entrepreneur yourself. It's already out, right?
No, it's not.
Not yet.
But we can talk about it.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, so this is my product.
Okay.
It's a menstrual cup.
Okay.
The brand's called Flow Days. Do you know what it is?
Flow Days, a menstrual cup. So it's basically instead of a tampon, it's a substitution for a tampon.
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah.
So it just it's made of medical grade silicone, which substitutes tampon. But the thing is, it can last up to 10 years with the proper care. So it's reusable and in that way sustainable for the environment. And one thing I like about it is that it collects blood. It doesn't absorb, so it keeps your like pH balance and all the fluids. It's healthy for your vagina. So that's why I choose it. For me, I didn't know about it for a while. Like I think apparently it had been existing for a while, but I just known about it, and I'm like, whoa, where have I been living? How come I not know about this? So I tried, and it changed my life in a sense of I'm very active. I like to go swim, hike, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry, I lied. I don't hike, but it comes like the word swim always come with hike somehow. So I swim, I dance, I run, and like to be active. And when you have period, like many times it stops you. It stops you, and you're always concerned. You have to always change. Like it becomes a part of your life where you kind of, it's like a harder moment for you because you need to be aware, and a bunch of people get used to, but you can't say it's fun. So having a menstrual cup and using it felt like changed my life. But then I wanted to do my own because there's certain things I want to adjust or like, for example, like I have like 5 colors because I like the colors, and then I want the ring because it's easy to remove. And I think like some brands have double, rim here. The rim is for it to pop open. The worst thing that could happen to a menstrual cup is that if it's leaked, then it loses the purpose. Like I have period and it's leaking out. Like everyone's fear. So that's why I want to have a double rim here for it to pop open so it doesn't leak. And also for it to like stay strong to where it is, so like it doesn't fold off. But at the same time, I also want the ring. So like some brands, I see that they have certain things I like, but then they're missing, let's say, the tail of it. And some brands have the ring, but they don't have the double rim, or for example that. So I feel like I want to create something that I like the best of everything. And then I read a lot of I went into all this menstrual cup groups and reading everywhere. I try to collect data, like what girls are liking, what they like about certain brands. They're like, oh, they like the feeling of this brand. So I would buy it and would feel it. So I would buy all the brands. Okay, they like the feeling here. They like the stem here. They like the shape here. So just combine like the best things. Like, in Powerpuff Girls when they're mixing the favorite things. And
sugar, spice, and everything else.
So this is like sugar, spice, and everything. So this is Flow Days.
Okay.
Yeah. I would give it to you for the try, but since
understandably, it is also a healthier option than using tampon.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's healthier because in tampons and pads they use bleach, right, for it to be white. Most of them are in white color, so they have some sort of toxins and stuff. Maybe not too dangerous. So this one is just made for medical grade silicone, and it doesn't leave out anything and just collects blood. Basically like I'm just collecting and I'm emptying it. You wash it, you clean it well, you put it up, and when you put it right at the right place, you feel like you don't have anything in you.
Reusable, better for your health.
Yeah.
And
more hygienic also.
More hygienic.
I have to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you know. Like when you use pads, because let's say in Thailand, most people use pads still, not tampon even.
Yes.
So they use pads because taking something up your vagina, it's a taboo thing. It's like, whoa, why would you do that? I mean, we're waiting until marriage until we have sex. Why would we put something else in it, right? So I understand. So they use pads. And then when you use pads in this heat, I tell you, sometimes I feel like my period gonna boil. please. You know, it's so hot.
Okay.
And when you bleed out on your pads, and usually you change it out after a few hours, right? But some girls, you work too long, whatever, you don't have time. Maybe you last a bit longer, and the moment blood oxidize or like have reaction with air, it gives a smell, which is normal. It will give out smell because like it's a blood, it's made of so it gives out smell. So with the cup, with the menstrual cup, it collects blood inside, so it doesn't come out and react to bacteria or air or whatever. So it's like no odor, and it's more hygienic in that sense if you see it. And then people, like a misconception, I think, when people think of menstrual cup, and especially Thai girls, be like, oh, if I put it in there, will it like expand my vagina? It's a concern. Like for a woman, for the longest time, I tell you, for the longest time, women, like with vagina, it's a sensitive thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a wide vagina because then you're made fun of, because then you're not desirable. The virginity, it seemed like a prize somehow for the longest time, even today.
Like it's like for men, it's like, will this make my penis smaller? It's a concern. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no one wants to have a wide vagina. So they think like just because you put something in there. But you have to understand, like, people would just be scared and then just go believe something like that, where they could go and look more further that, hey, it can expand and it can like come back to it because it is flexible. That's why they have Kegel exercise, and that's why ping pong show is a thing. Like if I have to give example, if you don't think a vagina can expand and can come back, or like, flexible, how do you explain ping pong show? How can someone shoot a ball so far? It's insane what a vagina can do. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Yet.
But
I'm just saying, like, it's pretty amazing what it can do. So so don't worry about the expanding, because it folds to your shape as well. It will be open, but it folds to your shape, so you don't have to feel like it's gonna. Yeah.
And how do you plan to sell it? How can people buy the product?
Educating. I think that by me just saying like, hey, buy it, it's great for you, or like, even though it could sound convincing, like, oh, all the benefits here, for people to actually use it, it's different. Same with condoms. It's so great. Like I barely see any downfall, like any negative parts about condoms. But to actually use it, you need a lot of educating. So I would talk about it in my channel. I would teach people how to like fold different way, how to wash, how to clean, what's a benefit, talk about the history of it, and just overall talk about period, talk about like sexual health. So I'm not forcing anyone to be like, oh, you need to choose it. Like it's another alternative, which you can choose. Yeah. It's an option.
And can you buy this online, or how are you gonna sell it? Like through Instagram, online?
Not gonna lie, since I'm only one working with this, it has been slower on the production part.
Okay.
So I have some samples now, but I have Instagram page, so can start with that. And once it come out, I would like link it to probably a line shop or something, and sell on Lazada, Shopee. So it's called Flow Days.
Flow Days.
Yeah, Flow Days on Instagram, Flow Days on Facebook, and Flow Days on TikTok. Do you know how hard it is to get a name so short on Instagram without putting like .official, .shop? I have the word Flow Days only. I have to text a girl who did Instagram back in the days when you could have short names, right?
Yeah.
So I will have to text her and be like, can I please have this name? Can I please buy it? But it was inactivated.
Oh.
So when it was inactivated, it means someone not using it.
Yeah.
So I have to go and request it, do like so much fuss. So it's hard to get a short name. So I'm really proud of Flow Days. Just to tell you this.
Yeah. That's a problem. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, Ticha, we have a final question for every one of our guests.
Yes.
Before we end the podcast. And I think from this podcast, I'd like to ask you, what is one piece of advice you would like to give someone to take the next step if they want to reach their dream in Thailand? Now, at first I was going to pick an extremely specific one, but this could be if they want to become an entrepreneur, if they want to become an actor, if they want to succeed in life. Because I think, like I said, you're an extreme example of what a working person can achieve. You weren't handed anything to you, and you worked for everything you have. So what's that one piece of advice you'd give to someone to, like, no matter how many rejections you get, no matter how many times you fail, keep going?
Ooh. I have two things I will combine.
Go for it. Yeah.
I think the real confidence is not when everyone is applauding for you, like everyone's clapping for you. It's easy to be confident that way. But when you're really confident, it's the moment when no one's clapping for you and you have to clap for yourself. And it's going to be a lot of those days when you have to do it. Because you could wake up one day super motivated, but some things take years to make. Some things takes longer than that. So you need to be your biggest supporter and believe that you can do it and embrace failures too, embrace some downfall, because it's a part of life. Embrace mistakes. I think some people are so scared. They're like, oh, what if it doesn't work? And what if someone say this? And what if this fails? It will happen. Don't question it. It will. It will for sure somewhere along the line. Who like feel like I've never talked to someone who made it and felt like I never made one failure. I never have this and that. Some people have lost everything before they get to where they are. But the thing is, we're as a society are so focused on the tip of the iceberg. We just see like, oh, you succeeded. This confirm it because you have this much money. But along those lines, so like embrace failures, embrace mistakes, learn from it, and I think that. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. When you look at someone, what do you admire, what do you like aspire to be? And keep that in mind and keep clapping for yourself on the days that no one claps for you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Kanticha Chumma, Ticha, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Really
sorry for not
thoroughly
asking you.
Enjoyed this chat. Sorry for what asking me?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just answering.
No. What you mean?
Yeah, it's supposed to be that way, but just like it feels weird, just talk about myself all the time.
No.
Thank you so much. It's so much fun and my pleasure. I always wanted to come here. And I never thought you would invite, like the first time you guys invited me, I'm like,
why?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't we?
No, because, back then I felt like I had nothing to offer that can be, like, I would say nothing in this type style that could offer. Like now that I do sex ed more, I feel more like, I could be educating, I could be useful. Yeah.
No, to the point is, I think the number one reason for me to have you on the show was because only because I think you inspire, and that is above all your other accomplishments. Like you don't need me to tell you how accomplished you are. You're an amazing person. You're talented. You do a host of other things, but you have the ability to inspire, and you take it upon yourself to do something that people wouldn't dare touch. Like for where you were and what you had, people just go along for the ride. Life is good. Why challenge yourself? Why do something that can be considered as something so crazy? But you are willing to risk that. And that is something to admire. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Jay, for being such a good host. I feel really comfortable talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Ka. Thank you for watching.